Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the MSP Corner podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory Moravietz. And today's topic is established accounts, the land and expand approach. And let's kick this show off, but let's get to the table of contents real quick and just give you a quick overview on what we're going to talk about. Established accounts. We're going to answer the question is, are they gold mines? And what makes you determine, okay, what should we approach them? You know, what services are in place, et cetera, et cetera. Point of contact, how do they factor in? Future newsletter you need to have in place. And the information that you need to have in place for that newsletter. It plays a critical role in building that rapport and trust and credibility. So let's kick this show off though. Okay, all right, established accounts. I went through this, so Gregory, I just went through this with one of our IT partners, and I asked them to go to their database and I asked them, look, you need to go to your finance department and determine who do you guys bill every month? Who are you working with every day, every week, every month? What services do you provide them? What products? And then we need to determine, and I'm working with them on this, is what else can be offered? Where can we help them improve if there is that possibility? Because established accounts, they are gold mines, because if you haven't approached them with additional services, you're going to get some quick sales. And these can turn into, like we discovered today, a $500,000 sale. Done. It's like we were able to uncover on a 5-minute phone call that this gentleman, this company, was ready to make a decision in the next month or two about a 24/7 SOC. And just by me calling and the CEO of this IT partner that we have in place, they were just listening. I had them on my cell phone. I called from my computer phone. They were listening. They listened in as I spoke with them, and they just loved the approach. They loved how the no was not, because he initially gave me a no. He says, no, we don't need any help desk services. But I continued with the conversation of, look, security is a big concern for organizations like yourself. Do you have any? Are you happy with the security that you have in place? And sure enough, he wasn't. He didn't feel there was enough oversight when it came to file integrity monitoring. There wasn't a SIM wasn't in place. They needed eyes on the dashboard in the event somebody was trying to access files that they weren't authorized to access. So was it luck? Was it was it my pitch? I think a little bit of both, but we quickly were able to establish that a $500,000 a year account, just like that, on the first call. This wasn't even a series of calls or even a newsletter that was sent to him where we were following up. Nope, nothing. This was completely. It is warm because this is why, and I'm going to go to the next topic. Is, you know, first, are these established account gold mines? And you can easily determine if they're gold mines if you can determine how happy they are, right? If a client is happy with you, they are more than willing to take your call. You have already established trust and credibility. And if your account manager is doing a good job on building rapport with the decision maker, take them out to lunch, bring them an annual Christmas gift, send them a an Amazon card and your Christmas card, whatever. Something that shows some appreciation will is one way to show your clients that not only do you appreciate them, but you're thinking of them. And that's why I think that's the only reason, probably one of the biggest reasons this gentleman took my call, because he trusts this firm. He's happy with their services. He's happy with the account manager because I was able to mention their name and they're like, oh, yeah, how is so and so? And I'm like, yeah, they're doing great, et cetera, et cetera. But they were it's one of the reasons they gave me a couple of minutes, and that's all you need. 2 minutes is the maximum, because you're already imposing on their time. You're already taking up their day, so you want to make it quick. You want to quickly qualify them and schedule a longer phone call to discuss more details about what you offer. And we scheduled a demo, right? We have a sim demo we're gonna give them on December 7th, and they're pretty excited about it. This is a big testament as to why all IT firms need to always keep their clients happy. We're not perfect. I get it. The computers are not the most cooperative at times. Technology is uncooperative. Software is uncooperative. So many things could go wrong, and we're the ones that everyone points their fingers to when they say, "Hey, this is broke and it's their fault," right? It could be IBM's fault. It could be Dell's fault. No, it's our fault. So we get the brunt of the complaints because we're at the front lines there. But when you make your clients happy, they're going to be more than willing to take your call because they already trust you, and that's so important to that land and expand approach. Any questions up to now? Because I'm on a roll.
No, but I know that what you're saying is it makes super sense. Like if you already have a customer and they trust you, you could just sell them more. And I find that maybe 8 times out of 10 that's not super accurate. And it's like the basis of almost all these other groups of salespeople we see. That's their like core. That's what they tell you. Look, you have a customer, just squeeze them a little more. And
Yeah.
then and you're like, give more give me more of your customers so I can squeeze them more and more. And I find that that's not always the case. A lot of the times people are looking for a product or a service like water, and if you try to sell them ham, they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you trying to sell me ham? I only want water from you. Stay in your lane." So, how do you how do you segue over? eh, Let's just say, okay, we're going to stick with this philosophy, which I don't necessarily completely believe in, but how are you going to do it? Because when you stand in front of somebody, they see the water guy, they see the Alhambra guy. No one's going to think that you sell ham, right? They just don't
Yeah.
think about it. It's you're the
Yeah.
water dude.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe talk about how you can expose though the fact that you aren't just a one trick pony to your potential customers.
Well, that's a really valid point, and it's a great point that you bring up. One of the things that when I approached this gentleman, because this one group, they provide them with they implemented an Avaya system. So they installed, they did all their cabling. So you're right. It's like they just sold them water. And now I'm getting ready to sell them steak and lobster, right? So my approach was, hey, I work with so and so. It's the account manager, right? He's already happy with the account manager, and he's like, "Oh, great, yeah. So what's going on?" And I tell him, "Look, we've started another department. We've implemented another service that we're offering our established clients, and I'd like to get your feedback if you have these type of challenges. Are you looking to reduce IT costs? Do you have any challenges in IT?" And they're like, "No, we're pretty happy with the help desk and how things are going with our on-site team and." I don't see that being a fit. And he's like, but thanks for your time. He said immediately, but thanks for calling. I said, no, that's great. What about security? How concerned are you with security? And that's where it piqued his interest on what he was looking to implement. So my next stop was going to be cloud services, right? They might have an on-premise infrastructure. I don't know. I didn't get to that point. So I quickly said, look, he responded with, "Oh, what do you have to offer? Because we are looking into a solution. We have Sentinel One in place." So he went on and on about what they have in place, and but what he did share was what it's not doing. Sentinel One is great for the endpoint, but who's watching the network, right? Is there a he already knew about SIM, so I said, look, we have SIM in place, and it's by Splunk, right? Splunk has a great brand. It's a well-known organization, and he was impressed with what SIM could do. Well, the Splunk product can do, and how it could be that dashboard for his team and our team to ensure their network is monitored 24/7. I go, look, I know your team is working 8 to 5. Hackers usually don't attack while your team's there. So who's watching these alerts at 2 a.m., Christmas morning, New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving Day, right? Who is watching them? Because we are. We could be your sock that is never going to go to sleep, is never going to call in sick, never going to go on vacation, because we are 24/7, 365. We're not ever going to abandon you. So if an alert comes in on somebody from China trying to access your network, we're going to quickly shut down that port or block that IP address. And if Tom from finance is trying to access files in HR and he's not supposed to, we're going to send you a message saying, hey, why is Tom trying to access files he doesn't have authorization to, right? So he loved that the benefits of having a SIM in place because it's exactly what he was looking for. And that was my approach. It's, look, I know we've sold you water, but now we're selling steak and lobster. What are you? Do you like steak and lobster? Is steak and lobster on your menu? Do you want to eat? Is this something you're looking to have soon? Right. So, as long as you take a very direct approach and you focus more on benefits, right? Because I said, look, we're not here to I'm not here to talk about the products. I'm here to talk about how we as a partner prevent security problems from happening, right? And he goes, well, how do you do that? Well, based on what you're saying, we would implement a sim. And he goes, yeah, I've been looking at a sim. And I go, well, we have Splunk in place, and that's how it went on to the product. Because I don't like to talk about products. I like to talk more about benefits and how we're proactive and not reactive. But that's how I was able to continue the conversation and expand on other areas because, and I never got to cloud, right? We could have gone on to the cloud infrastructure, and if he was thinking of moving his on-premise environment to the cloud, and what his thoughts were on, having a more, because they're in Houston, I'm sure they're very familiar with natural disasters, and what his, I don't know if we could have talked about disaster recovery policies, we could have talked about backup and the cloud, but we didn't get to that. But I wanted to stick to something he was currently in the market for. And this $500,000 deal usually takes 6 to 8 months to close. He wants to close within 60 days. I mean, he even gave me his timeline. He's like, look, we're looking to make a decision in the next month or two. So I need to make a decision pretty quickly here. So let's schedule a demo and see if this is a fit. And sure enough, we'll have this. Hopefully, we'll have this wrapped up by the first week in January. But this is all due to I like to say, oh, this is my sales skills got us this. But you know what? I have to give a lot of credit and to the group that brought me in. It's their client. They're the ones that take care of them. They've built trust with them. They continue to build rapport, and they build a brand that gives them credibility. So it's not like he was looking at me going, I don't know if you could do this. It's just based on who I was representing. He's comfortable enough to say, yeah, I can. I'm okay with going to the next step of looking at your product, dedicating an hour to a demo, and getting my team involved, right? Because they're going to have 3 or 4 people on their end, and that goes to show that it really goes. I give most of the credit to this client because they've done a great job building rapport with this organization, with their client. So, but let's talk about who you contact, right? Because yeah, okay, you've got a list of clients they're very happy, they're happy with you. You already know what you do for them. You know who you have to contact. So what did they do for me? They provided me with a point of contact, a title. A title is very important because I'll tell you, if I'm going to call into a medical office and the IT manager is the only person that is making decisions because the CEO is just impossible to contact, and this group that I'm working with, if they have a history with this IT manager always making the decisions, I'm not going to question it. I'm going to say, okay, let's call him. Because my approach with an IT manager is going to be so non-threatening. It's going to be very IT manager friendly conversation, right? Because they want to hear more about, look, we're going to come in as a co-managed IT organization. We would be providing relief for your team so you guys can focus more on projects and more mission critical initiatives for your business, because we're here to take on the annoying work that you don't want to do, the monotonous work that you don't want to do, the patch management, the monitoring of alerts, the break fix requests for your end users, right? that would be the IT manager's approach. But if it's a C-level executive, again, very different approach, very different conversation. So when you're contacting somebody or when you're building this list, you definitely want the point of contact. You want their title, you want their phone, email. Industry is so critical. Size of organization, critical. Okay. And that just helps somebody like me determine the approach, because the approach is going to be strategic or tactical, all based on title. The point of contact wants to hear a specific message. A CEO, CFO, IT manager, they want to hear a specific message that talks to them, that brings value to them. So, very important when you're building these lists. All right. So, that's something the audience needs to consider when they're developing these kind of lists of landing and expanding their current clients. Yeah, it's not as easy as everyone thinks. I made it look really easy on this one call. I mean, it's the first call and we hit 1,000 on the first one. Yeah, it's a lot of luck and very fortunate that I made it at the right time. I mean, had I made this in 45 days, it would have been already too late because he will already have chosen a product or a service for what he's looking for in a sock. So now we just talked about who we contact. Now, why do you do what do you do with this information? Right? Why do we need to put this all together? Why do we need to segment these lists? Is because I'm going to get a lot of no's. I'm not going to hit 1,000. I'm probably going to hit 250, 300 tops. So what are we going to do with those no's? Is we're going to add them to our newsletter. And then you're going to consistently send educational information every week, right? You just automate these messages of educational information. I mean, that's 8 weeks of information that you can talk about cloud, you can talk about backup, you can talk about security, you could talk about specific cloud services for a specific industry. You could talk about a promotion for Lenovo computers, Dell computers. You can talk about, hey, there's a lunch and learn, right? We have a lunch and learn coming up for the financial industry, the medical industry, how to keep you HIPAA compliant, how to keep your network secure, how to come up, how to build a disaster recovery policy, whatever. There's so many topics, and if you're a managed security service provider or a managed service provider, the topics are endless. There's too much, actually, too much. There's so much information to talk about. I would suggest when you set up a newsletter that you solicit everybody every 8 weeks. You send a generic message with 3 questions. Are you looking to reduce IT costs? Are you happy with your IT service provider? Do you have security concerns? Do you have backup concerns? Do you have disaster recovery concerns? Disaster recovery policies concerns? That's 5 questions. But you want to keep it very short. And all of my emails that go out, they are not novels. They are not a small book for you to read, because you're going to lose your audience 99% of the time. So if you want to increase your reads, your potential for conversions on a newsletter, keep it short, 2 to 3 sentences tops. That's it. One short paragraph. That's all you need. You can pack a big punch in a little, in 3 sentences. There's that saying of less is more. Well, this is where it also rings true. Less is more. Always, always keep that in mind. You're not here to educate them on why they need a disaster recovery policy. You just ask them, do you need a disaster recovery policy? Now, when you're sending out these newsletters, you always want to track metrics, right? You want to see which topics are the most popular, because if security is getting a big percentage of reads, a big percentage of conversions, you need to dedicate more time to security. Just how it works. So metrics is going to be a key part when you're sending out your newsletter. All right. I know I spoke a lot. I've been speaking for 20 plus minutes nonstop. Anything you want to add? Because this is a wrap. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you definitely need to set up, like you and I talk a lot about it. You need to set up a workflow. You have to have, start here, step one, step two, step three, social media, drip campaigns, metrics, analytics, monthly reviews, uh, meetings. I mean, it's a serious business. It is so. If you go to somebody who like has a flower shop and you try to talk to them about this kind of stuff, they're just gonna look at you like you're some sort of alien from another planet, and you're gonna be they're gonna be like, I don't know what the heck, Google AdWords, keywords, site scraping, drip campaigns. They think drip has to do with their flowers. They have no idea what you're talking about. So, if you want to if you're technical and you can educate yourself on this stuff, you'll find that it's a daunting task, and you're not going to be a pro at it. So, you might want to get some help there. This is definitely an area to get help in. Sometimes when you need help, you just kind of ignore it, you power through it because we're technical. We think we can do everything. But I say this, get as much help as you can. If you have to pay for it, then look around for the best possible resource, because like you said in another podcast, marketing people are just going to blow smoke up your butt and tell you what you want to hear so they can just try to scrape 2,500, 10,000, $20,000 off you as quickly as they can and then move on. And it's tough. This is a tough scenario.
Well, you bring up something that's really, really important, and I should have added this as part of the table of contents, is social media, right? Yeah, the newsletter is great, but you know what does play a big part in this is also social media. But this is one thing that a lot of IT firms, you know what, I shouldn't just say IT firms, 99% of businesses out there that have a following don't even have the right followers. And what do I mean by that? I mean by that is that if you want to have an effective social media campaign, you're going to want to have the right audience in place. And let's use the personal trainer scenario here. Personal trainers, they have great videos. They produce great content. But if all of their followers are people like me in excellent shape, all ripped and great shape, I don't want to. They're not gonna convert me into a client. And I say that with a lot of sarcasm. I'm not in that great a shape. But what I'm saying is, if all of your followers are people that are in great shape, you're going to have a very low conversion rate. Your audience needs to be out of shape. They eat terrible, right? They're just not healthy people. That's who they want to target, is people that are out of shape, obese, are not healthy eaters. That's who their audience is. And the same thing with the IT industry. If you want to convert, if you want your social media campaign to be converting your followers, well, if you're producing content that only speaks to the medical industry, and the only people that are following you are lawyers, you're never going to convert anybody. So you got to make sure that you have the right followers in place so you convert that following. Because why would you want to be producing content that's not relevant? It's not relevant to them. So you got to be, and that's where a lot of these social or these marketing companies, they get you with their little trickery, right? There's a lot of trickery in these marketing companies. They're like, oh, you're not leveraging social media. You need to start posting on LinkedIn and Facebook and all that. It's like, really, really, it's so amateur. Look, if you want to talk to your audience, if your audience is following you because they see you as a credible source, you built a brand that people look at and say, when they see your brand, they're like, oh, security or IT support or computer support or help desk support or managed IT services. If that's the first thing they think of, you've done a great job with your branding. So that's where your social media campaigns will be very fruitful. And this is that's where I would say, yes, start leveraging your social media platform so you start converting people, or at least educating them so they can then determine, hey, I need EDR, I need SIM, right? You need to build up that audience so you're talking their language. Because if you're talking Spanish to the French, you're not going to get any response. You got to talk your audience's language or you're going to lose them. So, but yeah, thanks for bringing up social media, because that is a big, 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 big platform that needs to be leveraged, right? For additional traffic, for additional opportunities. It's just it's low cost. I mean, it's inexpensive. So and when you have things like Market Builder in place, it allows people like me. I just automate that now, right? We have 7 posts that go out every week, automated by Market Builder. So and it talks to our audience, at least the audience that I've built for single point of contact. So, but this is what a lot of IT firms need to think about. They need to think about who's following them. If they plan on using social media, who's following them, and are they talking their language? It's critical. If you want to convert your followers, talk their language. All right. Anything else you want to touch on? Because you brought up some great points, Greg.
No, that's it.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, feel free to forward it to another CEO of an MSP who struggles with sales and marketing, scaling. We're going to have lots of training on our platform for you guys I'm going to have a module on how to sell into an established account. We'll get more granular on what you need to do. All right, guys, thanks for again. Have a good night. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.